Hi Ashwat, how are you doing today?
Hey Praveen, I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Let me introduce about myself before we are starting our interview. Hi, this is Praveen from LNT. I will be taking your interview today. To start with brief intro about me, I'm working as a lead consultant looking after data engineering and data reporting teams. I have experience with multiple cloud technologies on different on-premises databases and ETLs, including big data technologies in the past. So I would request you, can you please let me know about your current roles and responsibility?
Definitely, Praveen. And firstly, right, it's nice talking to you, and thanks for this opportunity. Okay, currently I'm working with SunTrust as a senior data engineer, and I have a total 4+ years experience in this IT industry. Started my career as an associate engineer in this company, and currently in this company, I'm handling all data engineering work using technologies like Snowflake, AWS, and other few traditional ETL tools. And majorly, my work involves starting with the gathering requirements from the product owners and the product engineers, and develop the pipelines with the required models to run the business for the data analyst and for marketing campaigns teams. And also, I'm a part of projects lifecycle from end to end, starting working with the designers to understand the requirements and deliver into production till warranty sign off. So that's the whole project lifecycle. I will be there as part of maintenance, development, and working with the testing teams also in hand in hand. So that's very brief about me, Praveen.
Yep, great. Okay, I understood about your project. Then let's start about some few technical questions or discussion. Let me ask a question. What are the source systems in your project? And can you explain me how you have integrated with the Snowflake as you're working in the Snowflake? What are the different source systems in project? How you integrated source system to your Snowflake?
Definitely, yeah. So we have actually great landscape in this current project. So in our current landscape, there are multiple source systems, as we have a multiple departments also generating data, including we have few third-party teams as well who runs the campaigns and supplies the information for us. Okay. So example, we have an upstream teams generating data from on-premise databases like Oracle, Netezza, and they have a process to land this data onto AWS S3. Okay, AWS is one of the cloud area they are using. Okay, and
Mhm.
as I said, there are different third-party teams also who runs the campaigns for us. And what this campaigns team are, we call it as a campaigns team or a third-party team for us, will be supplying a different types of campaign information, like what is the possibility of the new business in what areas it is, and how the customer behavior it is, and the companies who are and the people who are churning out of the company, and how can we retain the customers. So all this kind of information we receive in a files, and what they do is it's going to be in a traditional way right now. So they use a SFTP and FTP methods, and they land it into our Unix shared locations. So it happens via encryption and decryption over the networks, and they are following the traditional way. And also, we do work with some other teams to read data directly from a Azure blob storage. Okay, so by creating few cloud integrations, utilizing the Snowflake features. Okay, we collect all this source from a different places and make it available on a Snowflake raw layer. Okay, and after once we collect all this information from a different teams, okay, what we do is we implement a ELT process on a Snowflake. So what is ELT process? We do an extract from a different teams, and we load the data into tables in a different tables for a different people, and we transform. What is a transform we will doing is to we apply all the business rules or the transformations we receive from the as a requirements from a product owner or a data analyst or a business intelligence teams to bring some model for the downstream teams. So majorly we work with the downstream teams like a data analyst team and marketing campaigns team. And there are few other development teams, they utilize our data as a source for them. Okay. And our main
Mhm.
focus of
Okay,
this business, yeah,
let me
please
ask
go
you
ahead.
one question.
Yeah.
As you mentioned that you have worked into Netezza, Oracle, and different databases and all.
Yeah.
Just want to understand what is the need you need to go with Snowflake? Why don't you use Netezza as a database or Oracle as a database? and how Snowflake has helped you as a ETL process.
Okay. Yeah. So what is the reason? So we do also use the on-premises. Like as I said, we do have in our landscape Oracle and Netezza, which are traditional data warehouses. The reason we moved into Snowflake, okay, majorly the decision has taken at a management level. Okay. So what we have done is we have performed a many comprehensive analysis on a existing cloud data warehouses and on-premise also. Okay. So we have considered a lot of things factorized in a Snowflake, right? So building like a streaming pipelines, okay, with which extracts the data from Kafka on a real-time basis and fetches a semi-structured data and a structured data from a existing on-premise oracles and entities. So when we compare, right, when we compare the existing on-premise databases with the Snowflake, Snowflake is the solution which able to integrate any kind of data. So it could be a
Mhm.
data lake, it could be a
Mhm.
data warehouse, it could be a
Mhm.
data staging also. So
Mhm.
that's one of the main reason we are moved into Snowflake, and it has reduced our efforts maintaining a different databases like a on-premise Oracle or something or Hadoop or something for a semi-structure. This has actually become a one-stop solution and one view location for us.
Okay, let me ask another question. Let me put it in this way. As you know that, as you mentioned, we have a different data, we have different clouds like Azure, AWS, and you have a Google Cloud. Why do we need to use Snowflake rather than other clouds?
Sure. So we first question here, first thing, what would be the factorized thing here is, so three cloud areas we have to use, their respective data warehouses. Example, so as you said, Azure, AWS, and GCP, right? So it every cloud area have their own data warehouses also. But when compared to the Snowflake, Snowflake is a cloud agnostic solution we call. So what is cloud agnostic solution? Like is something like it can be onboarded on any kind of cloud areas here. It's not, we no need to stick all the time to one cloud area. And Snowflake also provides in a way any reason you can select, and any data movement between the accounts to accounts also can be handled here. Okay, so example I would say, if we take AWS as one of the famous, and I could say one of the great competitor to Snowflake. But when we compare Snowflake with AWS, right, so both are analytical tools, both are analytical tools with great capability. But comparing Snowflake and Redshift, right, so
Mhm.
Snowflake have a facility of independent or a independently scale your compute and storage. But when you go to Redshift, it both are combined. So that means you can't bump up, you won't be having a choice of bumping up the storage or compute resources. In a similar, another example I would take is Snowflake is one
Mhm.
of the great solution to deal with the semi-structured data like a JSON storage like that. But you will feel little hard with working with the Redshift. And even infrastructure management, when it comes to Snowflake, it's a zero infrastructure management. In Redshift, you have to maintain the clusters and the infrastructure.
Okay, okay, okay. I understand. So you mean to say that scalability wise, Snowflake is much better as compared to Redshift. That is I mean, is it that mean you
It's
want?
one of the factor I can call.
Okay, agree. Okay, fine. Can you tell me what are the what are different type of virtual warehouses you have used in your project?
Yes, so virtual warehouses we have extensively used with the different combinations here. So we had a virtual warehouse, just a single cluster and multi-cluster also we use. We generally, what we do is we generate a different kinds of virtual warehouse with the different sizes. The reason
Mhm.
is we supply this a dedicated virtual warehouse to the different parties or a different departments we call. Example like development team, SIT team, testing team, UAT team. Like this, there are
Mhm.
different teams available. So we take a responsibility of creating a dedicated warehouse for every department. And what we
Mhm.
do is we create with a lesser size to make sure
Mhm.
there is no cost over exceeded than what we are expected. Okay. In case if they come back to us and if this are saying that this power is not enough for them, then we will increase the size. Or if there is a production environment, if we are deploying into production environment, that application is very important to us, then we used to create a multi-cluster warehouses with a great policy methods like a standard or economy policy, and we deploy it into the production. as production is one of the important area and application should be always up.
Okay. So how big your data is?
So we used to deal the maximum tables we can call is we have a 1 TB tables as well. Okay,
Uh-huh.
but when we deal in a day-to-day basis, we will be dealing with million number of records. So we have a very big database and data warehouse we're maintaining in our current landscape.
Okay. How many, as you mentioned that you have used single cluster and multi-cluster, majorly you have used multi-cluster in a project. Do you
Yes.
know, do you know what is the default cluster size in your Snowflake?
So we default is start. It's a default two ways, right? So what happens is one is when you correct create a virtual warehouse from a UI, the
Uh-huh.
default is the Excel. When you create a virtual warehouse from a NoSQL, which is a CLI, that gives
Mm-hmm.
you from XS. But the minimum starts from XS, and the maximum we have for now is a 4XL. And currently in preview we have a 5XL and 6XL. Based on the size, the credits also will get utilized the way that you are using the warehouses.
Okay, great. So, okay, let me ask another question. What are different stages in your you have used in your project?
Yes, or stages, right? So stages is one of the area we use in our ETLs and we use in our Snowflake solution directly fully fledged Snowflake solution as well. So currently in Snowflake is providing four kinds of stages. One is a table stage, user stage, and internal stage and external stage. So
Mhm.
majorly we don't use a table stage and a user stage, though it is available for a any intermediate landing of data. So we use only internal stages and external stages. Internal stages right now, most of the traditional ETLs what we have will
Mhm.
utilize to land the data into internal stages. External stages is majorly we are using currently for Azure blob storage and for
Mhm.
AWS to read the data on a real-time basis and replicate into Snowflake and make the data available for the data analytic teams and the reporting teams.
Okay. Okay, makes sense. And let me ask you one question. You have mentioned Snow SQL, Snowpipe, and all.
Mhm.
Have you built any pipelines using Snowpipe?
Yes, snowpipe is one of the object. I mean, I would say literally we felt little hard to understand and implement this one, but this actually saved a lot of lot of effort for us, which is one of the great feature of provided by a Snowflake. So, to just explain what is Snowflake, right? In simple terms, Snowflake, Snowflake provides a snowpipe. It's a continuous data ingestion service. Okay, and what is the use of this one? How we have utilized is we have in a service, as I said, right? So there were different third party teams and different upstream teams which lands the data into AWS S3. Okay, and business comes to and as saying that we want the data to be available in a Snowflake as soon as possible, that whoever the Power BI team or a MicroStrategy team, they want this data, they can replicate as a dashboards to the executives and run the business as soon as possible. That was the requirement statement to us. And we came up with a design called as a snowpipe. What this snowpipe
Mhm.
does is
Mhm.
it loads all the files within the minutes as soon as they are added to the stages and submitted for the ingestion. These stages have pointed to the AWS S3 with some cloud integrations we have done with some IAM policies and with some
Mhm.
kind of IAM roles we have applied, and we created a cloud integrations to the stages. And this snowpipe helps us to make this data available as soon as possible, near real time we can call, within a minutes we can call, and
Mhm.
with very less response time we have this data copied into our snowflake landscape, snowflake tables we can call. Okay, the
Okay.
advantages we got from this snowpipe, right? So we could able to eliminate the roadblocks, any
Mhm.
roadblocks, real time analytics, cost effective way when you compare with a Kafka or a Kinesis, AWS Kinesis, or a different other streaming technique. And it was very simple to us to use. And it's a serverless, no management required, and the flexibility and resilience we get from the snowpipe is a great in Snowflake. That's one of the great feature we have in a Snowflake for the real time analytics.
Okay. As you mentioned, Snowpipe is used for real-time analytics. Can you tell me how does Snowpipe effectively works for continuous data integration?
Yes. So as I said, we have created a few stages. So external stages in a Snowflake.
Mhm.
Okay. So these stages are mapped to AWS S3 locations. This S3
Mhm.
locations, we will be receiving it from the third. the teams who are upstream
Mhm.
teams where they are landing
Mhm.
it, kind of like a
Mhm.
bucket information, or whether the access roles has been given to that buckets, what are all the bucket roles are there. So we will be
Mhm.
receiving this all information as a requirement from them. And on a Snowflake, as a data engineer, what we do is we create a cloud integrations. Okay,
Mhm.
and we will start seeing the when as soon as they land the file, within a fraction of seconds we could able to see these files in a Snowflake itself. And we integrated our snowpipe pipelines, what I have explained just before. And this snowpipe pipelines will start reading a data on a continuous manner. There is no manual effect. Once you switch it on, so it will be continuously looking for the files and make the data available in my tables as soon as possible. Okay, so that whatever the tasks on top of it, we have orchestrated few tasks and all. So the task will be running the data and make this data available to the data analyst. And also we have used a feature called as a data sharing. So we used to share this data as on a batch basis, and we will make this data available to the executives to take the informed decisions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now let me ask you a question. You mentioned, sorry, you have mentioned that you are in the AWS and which cloud
Yes.
platform currently your Snowflake platform is provisioned? So
Right
is
now
it only on AWS or any other platform?
we do have on any other actually on a dual, I could say, for now. So we means my team. So I work for a bank and I'm working for a mortgage portfolio. So in our team right now we are provisioned our Snowflake on a AWS, but upstream teams and some downstream teams have provisioned their accounts in Azure as well. Okay, it was the kind of POCs executed and they were satisfied with that areas, so they have choose the AWS and Azure. Okay, and but this is not a showstopper anyway. It's not a showstopper for us, because Snowflake have a facility called as a data sharing concept, and it works across account to account irrespective of whatever the cloud areas we have, right? So what happens is we had some requirement. I was working for mortgage, and there was another finance team was there. We were in need of some data from the team. So we, in a traditional way, before we go into Snowflake, so we used to share the data via files or a databases or a data marts. But
Mhm.
when, as we are into Snowflake, we started leveraging the power of data sharing in Snowflake,
Mhm.
and that
Mhm.
helped us to exchange the data for our looking up purpose and derive the business information whenever we need in an easy manner.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, let me ask another question. So we talked about the data marts and different tables are sharing from one table to other table or one account to another account. Have you ever applied any clustering keys on Snowflake tables?
Yes, we do have applied a clustering keys on tables, but only thing is it's very minimal. The
Mm-hmm.
reason behind this clustering key is associated with a cost. So if you are applying, so what generally happens in a backend, we know that Snowflake have a natural clustering mechanism. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't need to really worry how the data is partitioning inside a table. So whenever you load a data, Snowflake internally the intelligence will able to convert into a micro partitions, and it will sort the data. So whenever a person queries that particular table, example, I'm querying the table and data analytics team querying the table, marketing team queries the table. So on a different filters. So what this micro partitions will do is based on the location details which is already there in the metadata. So the
Mm-hmm.
fetching of the results is very faster. Okay. But as I
Okay.
said, yes, we do have used a clustering keys, but the standards in our company is that you should go minimum with if the table is having a 1 TB of data. That means heavy data needs a clustering, because whenever you load the data, your clustering mechanism will be happening like a rekeying purpose. So it will undergo another mechanism, another possibility of automatically reclustering the whole data. So where it is little costly for you. But as I said, natural clustering key is sufficient for my company and my data whatever I'm handling, and for best querying purpose with zero extra cost. That's the standards we follow in our company right now.
Okay, great. So, okay, let me ask another question. You mentioned that mostly you worked on AWS and S3 buckets and all,
Mhm.
right? Did you guys use any other AWS services apart from S3? And if
Mhm.
yes, how did you integrate it to Snowflake?
Yes, yeah. So we have done a lot of POCs when we started with the Snowflake. As I
Uh-huh.
said, I have a 4+ years experience in this country, in this company, and we have explored many areas and which will fit for us. So that kind of POCs we have done. So initial times of Snowflake usage in our project, right? So we performed an a POC connecting AWS Glue. Okay, so as I
Mhm.
said, we are mostly into AWS right now. So AWS to Glue to connect Snowflake for processing the data which is available on AWS 3 and load the data seamlessly into the Snowflake tables. So there we have utilized a AWS S3, sorry, AWS Glue as one other service to integrate with the Snowflake. Okay, it's
Okay.
majorly for data ingestion, transformation purpose. Okay, which usually gives a more flexibility for us. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and but our ecosystem is spread across a multiple on-premise ETLs as well as ab initio and Informatica, which are all traditional ETLs we are using. When we learned Snowflake, eventually we created a external tables on S3 directly instead of AWS Glue. Snowflake itself have that feasibility, right? We don't need to go into AWS again. So Snowflake external tables we created, we used to read the files and we use the copy functions to make this data available in our landscape as early as possible.
Okay. So you mentioned some tools, ETL tools like Abnisho and Informatica.
Mhm.
Let me ask you another question. Do you know how to connect DBT tool to Snowflake?
Yes. So DBT tool also we are using for a transformation purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
DBT is one of the great a connector with a Snowflake. So what we
Mm-hmm.
do is we have a few connection details where we give all the account information of a Snowflake whenever we generate an account information with a unique URL and a combination of warehouses and a combination of user credentials we will be providing directly into the DBT. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to be able to call the tables and the views and the databases and schema using the SQL knowledge. So
Oh,
DBT is one of the great connector to the Snowflake, and we also have done, but very less comparating to other working areas.
okay. Okay. Let me ask you one question. One more question. Do you have any knowledge on Power BI?
Not extensively, but
Uh-huh.
yes, we do have. I mean, as I said, my downstream team is working on Power BI. So now and then, some other times, we used to connect with them. They usually their questions will be in a way saying that for exactly where the tables are there, how can they access the tables using the Power BI? They used to show me reports and all where I used to suggest that how they can able to design their queries. Okay, but eventually when what review I heard from the Power BI is also right, what they are with the on-premise, they used to face some concurrency issues and all those, everything being resolved when they moved into Snowflake. Okay, so as there is a little Snowflake knowledge down nowadays, they used to reach out to us to get their Power BI reports generated as early as possible.
Do you have any idea how to connect Snowflake to Power BI?
Connect ways, I have how to connect, but not onto your working reporting area, but yeah, I do have a little bit of knowledge on the Power BI.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let me ask you one more scenario-based question. In future, for example, currently you're working in AWS. In future, let's say company want to move either Azure or GCP. Can we able to make our account to connect to this cloud areas? I mean Snowflake account.
Yes, definitely. As I said, Snowflake is a cloud agnostic solution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a one cloud agnostic solution in the market right now. So those Snowflake, right? Like currently, our Snowflake account is on AWS. Okay, but
Okay.
what happens is I mentioned one more example. We used to read a data from a Snowflake account where it was landed on Azure. Okay,
Okay.
so definitely there is a possibility that you can able to connect two accounts, two cloud services areas, but one solution called as a Snowflake, right? And also in case tomorrow if I decide saying that my data, all data, my account is on AWS and I want to move it to GCP, all I do is we can create another account on GCP and I move all the data from my current Snowflake account to there within a fraction of minutes with a great design. Okay, and I can
Okay.
stop using this AWS. So that flexibility also we have with the Snowflake.
So
We
for
didn't run
example,
that project. Yeah.
let's say currently as we are using AWS, let's
Hmm.
say we want to migrate to GCP. How
Hmm.
many days does the process takes to convert entire framework from AWS to GCP?
So if you ask me with the knowledge I grabbed till now from last 2 years on a Snowflake, right? So
Uh-huh.
it almost takes the transfer might take a day.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the
Uh-huh.
plan will take a couple of days, which was in a traditional way, which used to take a months to come up with this data transfer. Snowflake has a facility called as a data sharing concept and marketplace, and data transfer between a regions and a different cloud areas. So utilizing all these features, it won't take even a day, not more than a day also I could call.
Okay. So let's say, let me ask you one scenario-based question. As we
Mhm.
are working with insurance sector,
Yeah,
may, may, um, and majorly our information, customer information is really, really important for us,
exactly.
and policy information is very essential for us.
Correct.
How how you guys will handle with this information with Snowflake?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
as I mentioned that customer personal information, demographic information, policy information is really crucial us, and it is a kind of not kind of actually it is a confidential information. How does Snowflake will take care about this kind of information?
Yes, even our project, as we are also working into banking area, so PII information and PCI information, personal identification information and personal card information is a
Mhm.
P1 to us. It's a priority one to us. Even my company and my project team is also responsible to take care of that data. So how Snowflake helps us in this area, right? So it really helped us because the reason is it is landed on a cloud. Okay, Snowflake will start utilizing the cloud advantages of encryption. Okay, at
Mhm.
rest when there was no action at rest, it able to encrypt the data, and at a moment when we are data transferring or a data moving from one environment to another environment, at the times also it encrypts automatically, where we don't need to take any kind of action. So that is one of the benefit we got it, right? And also in Snowflake we have an admin team. Okay, what team will do is they aggressively follow that RBAC policy, role based access control policies. What the team will do is they will create some roles and they do a lot of due diligence before providing any access to any teams. Okay,
Mhm.
that means they are trying to restrict the people to view the data. Okay,
Okay.
adding to that, to a project team as a developer, we do have a requirements to deal with masking the data, not showing the data to some people, some kind of, if there is a realistic data, account numbers or UIA numbers, UAN numbers, PAN numbers are there. With this kind of numbers we don't want to show up to the customer developers. There is a possibility of misuse. So we came up with the concept. Snowflake has provided a concept called dynamic data masking policies. So we used to create multiple dynamic data masking policies for a different set of columns.
Mhm.
Okay, and we will start implementing or applying these policies on the tables and all the tables based on the roles who has to view it and for whom it has to restrict.
Okay, makes sense. Great. Thanks, Ashwath. I think I'm good with my interview. Do you have any questions with me?
Not much. It's nice talking to you, Praveen.
Thank you, Ashwath. I will share my feedback to HR. HR will get back to you for further information.
Sure, I'll wait for the feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Take
much.
care.
Have a nice
Thank
day. Bye
you
bye.
too.